And as we're talking last week, for those of you that were here, we were sharing on the way we think or our way of thinking. And if you remember what we were saying, when we were sharing, Manuel and I, we tag team and we're going back and forth. He was saying it's you have to make up your mind whether you want to change or not. It's all on you. It's nobody else. It's all on you. And with that change of mentality comes such a, I don't want to say responsibility because it shouldn't be it should be like an automatic thing. It's not like you have to-do list, but it should be something that once you make up your mind to change the way you think, it should be something that just comes automatic to you. And that is, to start facing and start not only changing the way you think, but start facing those giants in your life or those things that are in your life that are, keeping you from, obtaining your victory. And this giant, whatever it may be, this obstacle, this wall, whatever it may be, some people walk around life saying, like, they don't have anything. There's nothing wrong in their life. Their life is rainbows and unicorns. And even us in the Christian life, no one said it was going to be easy, And if they did, well, I don't know who said it. Let me know where you got that from. But we have those things, like I said, giants or walls, obstacles that we have to overcome in order for us to have our victory. And that could be anything. Like I've said before, it could be anything. Things that we're dealing with in our mind, things that we're dealing, even little things. And Manuel laughs because I do, and I personally, I'm going to say it, I don't care. I deal a lot with, like, image, and it's like, it's hard. And he tells me, stop, you gotta talk to those things that are talking to your mind and telling you those things. But that's something that I'm confronting every day, and I need to win my victory with that. There's things like negativity. There's things like doubt, fear, all of these things that come into you. Those are things that are keeping you, and that's an obstacle. That's a giant. That's something that you need to tear down, a wall, an obstacle that you need to break down in order for you to have your victory. And we cannot act like we don't have these. We cannot, as much as, we have this pretty painted face on the outside and, oh, there's nothing wrong with me. Okay, if there's nothing wrong, why aren't you living a life of victory? Kind of that way. We have to face it. We can't say, oh, no, I'm not going through that. Or, no, I don't have any fear in my life. And yeah, you still sleep with the light on. You have a night light. Or, I don't know. I'm not saying, guys, like I said, I don't know. God is telling me. Why are you laughing, Carlos? He sleeps with the nightlight on. It's little things like that. Like, oh, there's nothing wrong in my life. I have a perfect, beautiful life, and you still have fear standing up here and talking in the microphone. You still are fearful to doing certain things. I mean, those are things that we need to cut. And I told Manuel, there was things that when I was younger, you can never make people happy. Your point in life should not be to please anybody here on earth. It shouldn't. Because you're not going to please them whether you try. You can bend over backwards for them. You can do cheerleading tricks, literally flying in the air, trying to impress someone. They're not going to be impressed by you. They're always going to have something to criticize. And those things, if we're going to do something in our life, it should be to please God. It should be, people said, oh, take me an example. You're too skinny. I gained weight. You're too big. I'm trying to lose weight. Like, you're never gonna please those people. You're never gonna have that. And for you to have that victory in your life, you need to break those things, whatever it may be, those walls, those giants, those obstacles that are in your life. You need to break them down. One good example of that is in Samuel 17, 1 Samuel 17. And if you guys have your Bibles, I'm just gonna read through it really quick. I don't need the Amplified version. I'll just read it off of my Bible. 1 Samuel 17. And you guys should all know the story if you don't know it. We have our kids class, 6 through 9-year-olds that get these classes. If you guys ever want to come to our class, gladly teach you. I'm just kidding, guys. It's 1 Samuel 17, 41 and 51. So it's 10 verses that we're going to read. And I'll just read them very quickly. If you have it on your phone, on your Bible, say amen. Two people, one person. Thank you. Okay, it says, so the Philistine came and began drawing near to David, and the man who bore the shield went before him. And the Philistine looked about and saw David. He disdained him, for he was only a youth, ruddy and good-looking. So the Philistine said to David, am I a dog that you come to me with sticks? And the Philistine cursed David by his gods. And the Philistine said to David, come to me, and I will give you the flesh of the birds of the air and the beasts of the field. Then David said to the Philistine, okay, listen to what David said. It says, you come to me with sword and spear and with javelin, but I come to you in the name of the Lord of the hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defiled. This day the Lord will deliver you into my hand, and I will strike you and take your head from you. And this day I will give the carcass of the camp of the Philistines to the birds of the air and the wild beasts on the earth, that all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel. Okay, this is how David came at him. David did not come at him and he said, you're coming at me with all of these, weapons, and I'm coming to you with the name of the Lord. And that's how you need to look at your giants, whatever it may be, fear, doubt, anger, whatever it is that you're battling, and it could be, like I said, it could be things that you don't even think that you had. Fear of standing in front of people, fear of, like I said, I don't know what it is. Some people might still sleep with the nightlight. You're over 18 years old and you're still sleeping with the nightlight. I don't know. There's things that only you know what you're fearful of. Only you know what it is that you're fearful of. You know that you have word from God to give to someone else, and you're just so fearful of, I'm going to mess up. What if I don't say the right things? What if this person asks me something and I don't know? Maybe I should just not even say anything. You're fearful of confessing your beliefs, your faith. You're fearful of all of these other things. We need to take back all of that. It all belongs to us. All of that is our victory. David had to physically face a giant. He physically faced him. Like I said before, our fight is not going to be against a physical giant, against a physical wall or an obstacle or whatever it is. It's going to be in the spirit. And like I said, when we change our way of thinking, when we talked about last week, when we change that way of thinking, the thing that should change as your way of thinking starts to change, like and I'm going to say it because we taught the kids on Wednesday. So it's the process, the caterpillar starts as an egg. The butterfly starts as an egg. So that's when you first are learning, you're still a baby. None of you are babies in the church anymore. You've been here for a very long time, as I can assume. So the caterpillar is a baby. It's an egg. It's still new. That's you in the Christian life. You're a baby. You're new to it. Then it becomes to become a caterpillar, right? The caterpillar, you're learning. You kind of are learning, okay, this is right, this is wrong. These are things I can, these are things I cannot do. When the caterpillar goes into a cocoon, that's you in your Christian life, okay, learning. Okay, now I know that I shouldn't. Now I understand why I shouldn't be fearful. Now I know why I shouldn't have doubt in my life. Now I know why I need to speak up when I need to speak up. Now I know I need to stay quiet when I need to stay quiet. And then when you burst into that butterfly, now you're not only acting it, now you're not only learning it, now you're living it. Now you're acting on everything that you have. So when we do and we change our way of thinking, your faith should be one of the things that should change. Your faith should go from a passive kind of faith, one day I'll be free from all of this. One day. God's still working with me. One day I'll be free from doubt. I'll be free from lack of forgiveness. I'll be able to love somebody. I'll be able to forgive them for what they did to me. One day. And you go from being that passive faith to that violent faith. Like, I'm taking you down today. I'm breaking these walls. I'm tearing down every obstacle. I'm bringing every giant down because my faith is going to speak louder than I could ever speak. And some people are shy and some people can't, speak out. Some people are not as crazy as others. They're shy around others. But this has nothing to do whether you're shy or you're, outspoken. This has nothing to do with it. You can see someone that is so outspoken and can preach an entire hour to you, but their faith is not the same. And to me, I'd rather have a huge faith and a violent faith than to be able to, come up here and tell you you're all going to hell because you're sinning. And I'm not going to do that. I am going to fight my battles. I'm going to fight my giants because I am fighting them every day. That doesn't mean because you come to church, because you come to church 3 times a week. That's because you're on the worship team, because you help with the kids. Or that titles, the devil doesn't see titles. The devil sees, oh, he's a Christian. Oh, he claims to love God. Oh, she claims to be a child of the Most High. Let me see. So your position, it doesn't matter what you do. He wants you. And he's going to do whatever it takes. Those thoughts that are going to come in your mind. David told him straight out, you come at me with all of these weapons. I come at you with the name of the Most High. And that's how we need to approach things. We need to stop being like passive. Like I've never been a passive person. We are total opposites, like north and south, completely opposite. He is super passive. Patient person. I'm not like that. I want like things done like right here, right now. Like, let's go. Okay, you got the kids, let's go. Like, he's the total opposite. And I'm not saying that's bad for him, but we need to go from that passive, oh, things will happen. Things are one day they'll work out. No, we got to go like, no. My faith is calling things from the future into the now. Like, yes, it could take 6 years for me to have that, but I'm going to have it within a month. Yes, it could take me, in a year or two of going to a psychologist or going to talk to somebody about my problems, they'll fix it. No, I want it now. All that fear, all that doubt, everything that I have, I'm going to let it go now. It's going to happen in a week. It's going to happen in a month. We have to have that violent type of faith and not be scared to do it. Because there's people that are like, well, what if I do it and it doesn't work? What if I do it and then it does work, and now what do I do with it? You keep going. And everything that you have to like do an x-ray exam on yourself. When you go get an x-ray, they see everything that you have. When you go get x-rays on your teeth, they see every single little cavity that you have in there. When you go get any type of exam, they do a whole exam and they check you. Okay, you have this, you have that. Or, did you know that your back is crooked? Instead of being like this, it's like this, and you didn't even know. Like, when they do a physical exam on you, they see all of that. Now you need to do that in your spiritual life. Okay, what are the things that are not okay? What are the things that I'm still struggling with? What are some of the things that I don't have the complete victory there? Okay, I have my victory. I have my victory with I forgave. I needed to forgive, and I finally forgave. I have the victory there. But you know what? I'm still very, very fearful for whatever had happened in your past as a child, as a grown-up now, whatever happened, for whatever reason, you can't, see, I don't know, I'm just taking an example. Maybe you grew up without your mom or without your dad, and now you can't see a man or a woman the same, or you maybe were abused or something. You can't see the same. I'll forgive, but I won't forget. And that's not how it works. You need to have complete victory in every area of your life. Everything, from even the smallest thing. Like I told you, it could be the littlest thing. Like, oh, I don't like how I look. I don't know. God made you beautiful. In every single way, God made you beautiful. I think all of you are good looking. If you want to hear it, I'll tell you right here, right now. I think all of you are good looking girls. You're beautiful. You really are. Guys, you're handsome, good looking. And that's how God sees you. Okay, and now we need to have that violent kind of faith, because that's how God, your Father, sees you. He knows you can do it. And I'm just going to throw it out there, like I said, when you go to football games and you see the cheerleaders and they're cheering on the team, and then like they rowdy up everybody else, and then everybody else is cheering along now with them. That's how God is. God is your personal cheerleader, and he's saying, I know you can do it. I know you can do it. And then he rowdies up everybody else, and everybody's cheering for you, and now everybody's on your side. Everybody's cheering for you to do it. But like Manuel said last time, our way of thinking, if we don't change that, nobody's going to change that for you. There's no psychiatrist in the world that can change that for you. There's no one, not your mom, not your dad. No one can change that until you change it. You have to be the one to change your way of thinking, your way of behaving. It has to come from you being tired of being tired. tired of being the same person. And I'm going to put myself, I'm tired of being the same fearful, doubtful Carol. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it because the devil stole so many years from me being fearful. And Manuel knows it. I was the one that couldn't sleep without the light on. I couldn't. And it was so many years that I was like, what if something's out there? What if something's out there? Like, oh my gosh, I don't know. Like, I would always think the worst. What if someone breaks in the house? I always thought the worst of everything, of every situation. I could walk with, there would be a Chihuahua dog, and I'd be walking with my pepper spray. If that Chihuahua dog comes at me, I'm just going to spray. I'm a pepper spray. I always had the worst of everything. And you gotta change the way you think. You gotta go into that violent type of faith. And now at night, I'm turning off my lights. Let me see who comes at me. Let me see. I want to see you come at me. Let me see. Try. Let me get my Bible out right now. And I have my Bible. If you guys ever saw my other Bible, it's like kind of like metal. Do you guys remember my old Bible? Little metal. I'm like, I'm gonna whack someone with my Bible if anybody tries to come at me. And now it's no longer that fear anymore. Now it's like, I have that peace because I have that type of faith that I know God is with me, that God's, as for me and my house, we're going to serve the Lord, and the Lord is around me, and I have angel armies around my house, and I pray every night for my kids, and I thank God, even because I live downstairs in an apartment, I feel like going up on a ladder and like anointing the roof because I'm like, none of that stuff that my upstairs neighbor has is going to come down at me. Like, I am anointed completely because I am not allowed. My faith has changed. My way of thinking is not the same. We would never sleep with our window open. Oh, not in Arvin. No offense. You can't do that. You just can't do that. Now it's like, leave it open. What's going to happen? Nothing. They're going to be afraid to come in here. I think they'll be more afraid to come in here than I would be of them coming in here. Because if they come in, they're going to meet us. And I'm little, but I'm feisty. You see me in prayer. I'm back there in Sunday mornings during prayer. Yeah, that's how I'll get with you. So my faith has changed. David's faith changed. David was not looking at how tall this guy was. He wasn't looking at his physical outward appearance. He knew who he was. So he was, this is how I think. Like nowadays, if I were to simulate it as if it were nowadays, I think David would have came up with him like, look, man, you're coming at me with that. I'm coming out with you with the name of the Lord. Like, let's just get this done. Like, let's do this. I'm pretty sure David didn't even sweat. Okay, I'm pretty sure if he sweat, he probably because of the weather. He wasn't sweating because he was scared. And it's happened to me. When you're so scared, you can't stop shaking, and that's legit fear that you have. It's like a genuine fear because you can't physically, and you're not cold. You're not shaking out of being cold. You're shaking because you're fearful. You're scared. And I told Manuel, only once has that ever happened to me. And it was just like the weirdest thing. They're like, are you cold? And I was like, no, I'm sweating. I'm hot. Like, it's hot in here. And they're like, okay, you're afraid. You need to calm down. It's your stress level. You need to calm down. And but other than that, I think David was just so calm because he knew. He saw it. He saw that giant. He saw the way, but he wasn't looking at that. He knew the type of faith he'd had. He knew who was behind him. He knew who was standing right behind him, who told him, you go in my name. And that's how we need to see it. No demon, you should never be afraid of any demon or devils. You shouldn't be afraid of them because on the other hand, they should be afraid of you. And you need to tell them, you know what? Now it's your turn to know me. I was scared of you. Now it's your turn to be scared of me. Hi, by the way, my name is Carol. I like long walks on the beach. I also like to pray very violently against you, and I will rebuke you and bind you in the name, kind of like that. That's how I think David might have done it if he would have done it now in our days. We have to have that faith that is so violent and is not afraid, and you're out there and you're going. And you're saying, I don't care what comes at me. I'm going to go for it. That's like I said, whatever it may be, if you can't forgive and you haven't been able to forgive, that should be one thing that once you change your way of thinking, you need to let go of things. Forgive, let it go. Let the past be the past. Don't let the devil keep reminding you and bringing that up to you. Do you remember what you used to do? Remember, that's your past. And you remind him. You're trying to remind me of my past. Let me remind you of your future. Don't be afraid to talk to him that way, because those thoughts, you're not like, and I've said it 100 billion times. If it's exaggerating, I know, but you're not that bad of a person to think the thoughts that have come to your mind. When the devil tells you, when you start thinking of the things that you did in your past and you say, I'm such a bad person for thinking that way. I'm such a bad person for even doing the things that I did. And you feel like you're condemning yourself, and I'm going to go to hell. God's not going to love me because of everything that I did. That's my past. And I tell the devil, that's my past. God forgave me for that. God says, what sin? Didn't I forgive you on the cross? Didn't I send my son to die on the cross to forgive all of your sins? What sin? So now we have to have that violent faith that David had. We need to have it. And be like, you're trying to remind me of my past? Let me remind you of your future. Because in your future, you've been defeated. In your future, in my future, I'm in heaven with God for eternity. And you're in hell. Remind him, don't be scared. Because he comes at us with that condemnation and telling you, you're not good enough. Remember what you did. You still haven't forgiven your parents for what they did to you. You still haven't forgiven that person that did you wrong. You still haven't let go of that. Oh, you say you forgave, but you haven't forgotten. You're still fearful of doing things you thought you weren't afraid to do. And if those are things, you need to break it. And once you break it and you show him up, it's like, man, like if I could physically hit him, I did out of doing that. I'm just going to be an example. She's never done anything to me, okay? Never has she done anything to me. But if I say, I can't forgive her, like I just feel like I have her right here. Like in my mind, okay, this is my mind. I could just slap her. She's right here. I could just do it. Just do it. And the devil's going to remember what she did to you. Remember what she did to you. Do you remember how much you cried? Do you remember how much you were hurting? Just do it. Just do it. And instead of doing that, I give her a hug. Who right here is no? Who right here is winning? Who just won right now? Did I do it by physically attacking her? I did it. Where did I do it? Where did that victory of mine come? In the spirit. I didn't have to do anything else but do that. And you know what? When he sees you do that, he's even more fearful of you because he knows now what you can do. He knows now that you're capable of doing it. He is now more fearful of you. And it's like, oh, okay. You think you could do that? Let me throw another curveball at you. Let me throw another curveball out. Let me see how you're going to react to that. And you don't react the way that he wants you to react, he's going to be even more angry at you. And he's going to be afraid of you because he said, okay, I'm just going to put this as an example. Let's use Julio. He's at work. And they're trying to get at him and they're trying to tell him things and you're not good enough. And they're just picking on him and picking on him. I'm not saying that this is happening at work. I don't know. And they're picking on him and they want you to react the way that they are reacting. But you're not doing it. You're staying quiet and you're staying calm and you're not saying anything. Who won right there? Julio. Because they wanted him to react the way that they are acting. They wanted him. They were trying to see how far they can go with him, but he's winning. And those are victories in our life that we have to do daily. Those are daily things that we are living, we're going through, and every day. And like I said, David didn't come at him with the whole, I don't know, army weapons, guys. I was never in the army. I could probably not even make it. They'd probably disqualify me as soon as they saw me. You're not physically fit for this. David didn't come at him with a gun. I don't know, guys. I don't know weapons. I don't know. What is that type of big gun that the army uses? Anybody? Nobody? I don't know. M16? An M16? He wasn't coming at him with that, with the bulletproof vest, with the helmet. He wasn't coming at the giant with that. He was coming with nothing but his faith. And he knew he had it. He knew he had the victory. He already knew he had it because he told him, today I will cut your head off. He started declaring things, like I said, we've said before, he started declaring things that weren't being seen. He was declaring them as if they were already. He was already starting declaring things. And that's how our faith needs to be. And you got to tell him, and you got to tell your thoughts. Not today. You're not gonna attack me with the same thing at night when those thoughts start coming into your head. Of fear, of doubt, of how am I gonna do this? I'm not good enough to do it. I'm not smart enough. If they offer you a job, I'm not good enough for this job. How am I gonna do it? No, I am more and beyond that. God thinks so much more highly of me that's the only person that I need approval from. I don't need approval from anybody else but him. Oh, but you can't do it. And we've heard it. I've heard it from young people that their parents tell them, you know what? Let's just stick to something that will suit you and be better for you because you're just not, you can't make it on your own. You can't do that. You can't take that job on. It's too much for you. And I tell them, if that's, sadly, if that's how your parents think about you, then that's how your parents think about you. But God sees you so much more than that. David was, it says he was good looking. It said he was good. David was young. Do you think there was soldiers that had years of experience as being soldiers? And none of them would stand up to him. David did not have not even one day of being a soldier. And he decided to go up. It doesn't matter what it is that the devil is coming at you with. It doesn't matter what obstacle, what giant, what barrier he's trying to put in front of you. What should matter, and it doesn't matter how tall, how big, how wide, how deep, that doesn't matter. What should be important is the size of your faith. Are you going to have a passive type of faith? Yes, God, I know one day you're doing it. I know one day I'll have my victory. I know one day I'll be able to tear down that wall. And you're like, kind of like when a little dog comes at you. I don't like dogs, so when they come at me, I do kick him. But, oh, no, right, I'll push down the wall. I'll nudge at you. I'll slap you. And you're talking to your giants instead of having that violent faith that David had. And he called it out. And he said, you come at me with that, I'm coming at you with the name of the Most High. And you got to come at them like that. That's how you need to be. You need to have that violent faith. So today I have my victory. Today I forgive. Today I lose that fear. Today I lose that doubt. Today I have peace and joy in my life. You need to start calling it like that. And don't be afraid to let go of things that you need to let go of. There are things that we need to let go of, and we're holding on because we know that one day it's going to change. And God is saying, I have something bigger for you. We were holding on to these friendships. One day I know I'm going to bring my friend to church. One day I know it's not. And I know that just an example. I know she's not the best example for me. And I know I do things that I shouldn't do when I'm with her. But one day I know. And there's relationships, there's jobs. There's things that we need to let go of because God has something better for us. And yet we can't let go. We're holding on to it because we're so fearful of losing it because we depend on that so much. If you don't have any friends at the end of the day, who really cares? Are those toxic relationships that you have, or are those relationships that are blessing your life, that are encouraging to you? You're holding on to a job because, hey, it's minimum pay and I'm barely getting through there and they work with my hours. I need to hold on to that. I need to hold on to my job because I have benefits. I have all of these things. I get weekends paid. I get vacation paid. I can't let go of that. I have sick days. Do you not know what sick day means? That means you don't have to go to work and you still get paid. I'm sick. I'm not going in. I can't let go of this job. I can't do that. And it's like, why are you so afraid to let go? And tell those thoughts of doubt, of fear, of I'm not going to be good enough for any other job. I'm not going to have the job that I ever want. I want what my my dream is, or my goal is to work less but earn more. But what I'm doing right now, I'm working more and earning less. How does that work out? You need to start calling out your jobs. If you know where you want to work in, hey, start calling that out. Start calling whatever it is that you know that you want, start calling it now. Don't be afraid to do it. Don't be afraid to. I'm just saying, I never, ever thought that. I told Manuel one time, we used to go to youth conferences. Like for 5 years, we were going to youth conferences, like huge conferences in San Francisco. And we would get the entire hotel, like the conference, like the huge conference room. There was like 5,000, maybe 6,000 young adults, young people in the room. And I would tell him, man, that'd be so, I'd be afraid to speak to all kinds of people, because, they had special preachers, they had all these things. I'd be scared to do that. Like I'll help out. Like if they ever ask me, like I'll help, and, I'll be an usher, because every year they would change and they would get a different church to help out. And I was like, oh, no, I wouldn't. No, I'll be an usher. I'll pick up the tithes and the offerings. I'll go do that. But I was like, I never thought. And now it's like, no, now I know. And now I'm calling it out. You guys are my witnesses. I'm calling out that Generation Faith is going to have their own conference, their own young adults conference. And we're going to run it. We're going to have our worship team running it. We're going to have people up here giving word. We're going to have everything. We're going to have our own conferences, packed out, maxed out, 3,000, 4,000 young adults. I know we're going to have it. I'm calling it out already. And we're going to have young people that are going to be blessed. Yes, they're going to have a good time, because we would go and we'd have a good time. They have worship teams. They have all of that. And we had a good time. But the thing that always happened, and I don't know if you guys ever got to go to youth conferences, is like you come all hyped for like the first week, and yeah, we want to change Bakersfield. We're going to change Kern County. And it's like it starts dying down. We're going to have conferences where young people are going to be so fired up that they're going to know their identity, their position, and their authority. They're going to know that, and they're going to go out and they're going to want that. They're going to want that even more. And they're going to keep coming back. But in order for us to get there, we need to be the ones to get it. We need to be the ones to receive it. We need to be the ones that when things come at us and they're like, and I've gotten told, why didn't you tell that person off? Why didn't you say something back? And I just say, it's not my battle. It's not for me to fight. I'm not going to win anything. I can't lower myself to that. I know who I am in Christ. Back, old Carol, you could have told her any little thing and she would have cried and cried. And I would go home and I would cry. New Carol, violent faith Carol, is like, I'm not trying to say that I'm fit because I'm not fit, but it's like, when you like fit people and it's like you can't even hurt them because that's how fit they are. It's like you hurt yourself first before you punch them, and it hurts you more than it hurt that person. That's how I spiritually am. Okay, you can't see that right here, but spiritually, come at me. It's not going to hurt me. I know my position, I know my authority, and I know my identity. And I'm more than certain that David knew that. David knew he wasn't tall. David knew he wasn't buff, this muscle man. He knew that. But he wasn't going based off of how he looked. He was going based off of what he had. And that was God on his side. And Matthew 11:12. If you guys have your Bibles open to that. Matthew 11:12. Okay. It says, and from the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven suffers violence, and the violent take it by force. So none of that, oh, let me get my purse. Okay, hold on to your purse. Hold on to your purse. Give me my purse. Give me my blessing. That's mine. Give it to me. It's like, girl, give me my blessing. It's like, that's mine. You need to take it, and you're going to take it by force, and you're going to be violent about it. You know, like I told you guys, I've never, ever been in a fight. But if I'm going to be in any fight, it's going to be a spiritual fight, and I'm going to make sure I'm going to win. And if I'm going to come out of that prayer of whatever I do with my hair all messed up, I'll be like, yeah, I got my victory. Makeup all messed up, I got my victory. I did what I had to do, because it says and from the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven suffers violence, and the violent take it by force. Only the violent take their blessing by force. They're going to take it. It's not that passive faith that I said that you're going to wait until, I'm going to have my blessing one day. I will have it. In the name of Jesus, amen. I know. It's like, I'm getting my blessing. I'm going to get my business. I'm going to get my house. I'm going to get my car. I don't know. Someone's going to come and be like, and it will happen. Someone's going to be like, oh, you want a BMW? Oh, here you go. Here are the keys. And yes, we could call it out like that. I'm not going to have to give a payment on my car. I'm not going to have to give a down payment for my house. I'm not going to have to do any of that. I'm going to have my dream job. If you have your business, people are going to come you didn't even expect people that were going to come and offer you that job. You have your own business, and they say, hey, you know what? I want, let's say, I don't know, Carlos. I want, what's the most that they have asked from you? Let's just say the biggest company you can think of, they're going to be like, you know what, Carlos, I want you to be my graphic designer. I want you to do everything for me. Biggest company. Why not? It will happen. It will happen. Call it. Call it. You know, that cereal bar thing, yeah, call it. Why not? Call it. Whatever it is, you need to, if it's going to happen. You know, we need to start calling, and we can't be afraid to do it. David was not afraid. He did not shake. I never read in once right there that said that David was shaking and trembling and fearful of it. David stood firm on what he knew, and he said, I'm going to take it. I'm taking my blessing, which is our victory, and I'm taking you down. And with that, and I'm going to add to that, you know, just to put a, cherry on top, I'm cutting your head off, and everybody's going to eat your carcasses. You know, let me just throw that out there. David knew what he was speaking, and he didn't speak. I don't think David was like, I'm gonna cut your head off, man. Cutting your head off today. He didn't say that. He said, today I cut your head off, and today the birds of the air and the wild animals of the earth will eat your carcasses. And that's how we need to speak into it. Today, I receive my joy. Today, I receive my peace. Today, I forgive and I forget. It's not I forgive, but I don't forget. No, it's I forgive and I forget about it. Jesus forgave me on that cross, and he forgot about it. He threw my sins to the deepest of the sea, not to look back on it. And he says, if I'm not condemning you, who condemns you? Why should we allow that? Don't fall back on anything. Don't allow the devil to take one more day. Don't. And it's like, how can I if you need a cheerleader, like, man, call us. I'll take my pom-poms out. I'll cheer you on and let you know that you can do it. If we would have known this, and I still consider myself young, guys, I'm kind of proud. I'm kind of glad I learned this while I'm young. But all the things that I'm learning, it's like now I know that I am an adult, but in my later years, I'm going to be so successful that I'm not going to worry about anything. As of right now, I'm not holding on. I'm not holding on to my job and saying, I have to do everything they tell me, because if not, they can fire me. And if they fire me, then there goes my vacation paid. There goes my insurance. You're not my provider. I have a provider, and he's, by the way, I'm his favorite, That's God. That's my Father. He's taking care of me. I don't depend on that. That thing that you hurt me, that time that you did me wrong, that you hurt me really bad, that's not on me anymore. That's between you and God. I'm letting go of that, and I'm forgiving, and I'm forgetting, because that's not me. That's not for me to deal with. And we carry burdens that we shouldn't even be carrying. We carry things that we shouldn't be carrying. But I tan tercos. You want to suffer. You like it. Oh, they hurt me. And you remind yourself every night what they did to you. Why do you want that? When you can live such a peaceful, happy, fearless life. Fearless of everything. Come what may come, you are fearless. What fear? I'm not afraid. You can't tell me that you can't threaten me with anything. Because with everything that you threaten me with, and I'm talking to the devil, I'm going to take your home away. I'm going to take your job away. I'm going to take, everything that you ever wanted away. That's not up to you to make that decision. The one that does that is him. And if you want to go at it with somebody, just know that he's behind me. He's backing me up. And have that fearless, violent faith. And when you do that, let's just finish reading David's, story. He's 1 Samuel 17:41. I don't think it says, I think the giant took him down. I think the giant went, and David went flying, right? Yeah, that did happen. We have a class 6 to 9-year-olds. We can help you with that. Tell you the story. It says, then all 47, it says, then all this assembly shall know that the Lord does not save with sword and spear, for the battle is the Lord's, and he will give you into our hands. So it was when the Philistine arose and came and drew near to meet David, that David hurried and ran toward the army to meet the Philistine. Did he run away from the Philistine, or he ran towards the Philistine? He ran towards it. He wasn't scared. See, it's kind of like me when I see a dog. I don't run to it. I run away from it. Little chihuahuas, I don't like them. Then David put his hand in his back and took out a stone, and he slung it and struck the Philistine in his forehead, so that the stone sank into his forehead, and he fell on his face on the earth. So David prevailed over the Philistine with a sling and a stone, and struck the Philistine and killed him. But there was no sword in the hand of David. Therefore, David ran and stood over the Philistine, took his sword and drew it out of its sheath and killed him and cut off his head with it. Yes, David killed him. It wasn't the other way around. David was sure of what he was going to do. He had that violent, that faith that was so strong. He knew what God had called him to do, and he did it. And he knew that nothing was going to go otherwise. Nothing was going to change. Nothing was going to be, it was a mistake. I wasn't supposed to do that. No, everything went out as God had planned it. And God already has a plan for your life. And no matter what the devil tries to bring at you, no matter what type of trash talk he tries to bring you, none of that is going to stop God's plan. None of that. If God called you to be a successful person, nothing is going to stop that. Nothing. The devil will try to come. The devil will bring things that are going to seem like, that's going to stop, what God has for me. No. Nothing is going to stop what God has for your life. The only person that can change anything is you. And that's you not receiving it and saying, no, I can't take that, God. I can't do that right now. No, not right now. And we have to live that fearless life. As Generation Faith, we are called young adults Generation Faith. We have to have that faith, that violent faith, that faith that says nothing is going to stop me. That faith that when we go out and we talk to other young people, they're going to be like, what? They did that to you and you didn't do anything back? Or what? You used to be this type of person and you don't feel bad about doing what you did before? No. God forgave me. My past is in my past. If he's not bringing it up, why should I? If he's not condemning me, why should I condemn myself? If he already said that he forgave me, he forgave me. Just like Jesus forgave me, just like God forgave me, I forgive anybody else that has done me wrong. I have peace. I have love. I am fearless. I don't have any doubt. There's doubt does not exist in this. Fear does not exist in this. We are a generation of faith, and we have to stand out, and we have to have that violent faith. We should do like something like make it look like you know what we should do? We should do like what is it? Like a lion, you know, like scratched it. You know, like a violent generation faith, slasher kind of type of style. I don't know. Something like that to show that we have violent faith and not be afraid and take it on and receive your blessing. Receive everything that God has for you and call out the things that you cannot see and say it because I have this faith, because I have the faith that David had. He didn't see how tall or how big that giant was. He knew what he had to do, and he knew he had the faith. He knew he was going to do it. No matter what, he was going to get the victory. And that's how we need to see it. When we see things come up and we see our past. In our past, I'm not saying, you know, oh, it's a boulder. I can jump over my past and forget. Maybe we have huge pile of stuff that we did in our past, things that we need to let go of, things that we didn't even remember we had in our past. It might be huge, but we can't look at the size. We tell it to look at the size of our faith. We tell our past, do you know who's behind me? We don't let that scare us. We don't let that get us down. And it's an everyday thing, guys. This is not just a, hey, I'm going to do a one-time thing, and it's 10 steps to getting your miracle, 10 steps to getting your blessing. This is an everyday thing that you have to do. You have to remind him who you are. You have to remind him that you're a child of the Most High. You have to remind him that you're seated in heavenly places. You have to remind him of that. Remind him of his future. Don't be afraid to do it. Don't be afraid to speak into the airs and declare and bind things that you need to bind and loosen the things that you need to loosen. Don't be afraid to do that. God has not given us a spirit of fear. Remember that. He did not give us a spirit of fear. And when fear tries to come, I reject that fear. I don't receive it. It's not mine. God did not give it to me. We have to break these things down. And whenever you feel, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't talk to somebody about how you feel, and I'm not saying that, but going to a psychologist, going to therapy and getting all these things, that's not really going to change unless you convince yourself that you are more than enough, that you are a fearless person. None of that is going to happen until you are the one that changes that. I can tell you, I'm going to use Manuel as an example now, just finish with that. I can tell Manuel 100 times, I can tell him every day, you're not cute. That is not going to change the way he sees himself. I can guarantee you that. I can do it for the rest of our lives and tell him every day, you're not good looking. Stop telling yourself you're good looking because you're not good looking. I can tell him that. That's not going to change the way he sees himself. And that's how it needs to be with us. We have to be so sure of who we are that no matter who tells us what, that's not going to change our minds. That's not going to change the way we see ourselves. That's not going to change who we believe in and the type of faith we have. No matter, they can tell us every day, you're not good enough, you're not good enough, you're not good enough, you're never going to amount to anything. Don't ever forget that you had a dirty past. Don't forget that you had this. Don't forget that you had that. Don't forget that you can't forgive. Don't forget that you have fear. And don't forget, they can tell us every day. But if we are cemented in our faith and cemented in knowing who we are, they can tell us that every day. They're not changing my mind. They're not going to change my mind of who I am. Have you guys ever seen, and this is just the last thing, have you ever seen palm trees? I saw palm trees. In hurricanes and everything, trees get pulled completely all the way up. Trees. or like pulled up of winds. I saw I don't know, it was like last year when we had like really horrible winds around here. We were driving through one. Remember, Manuel? Where were we driving from? We were driving from somewhere. We were in town in Bakersfield. There was branches literally crossing from one end to the other end on the road. We were on Stockdale. And I was so scared. I was like, oh my God. I was like, and cars were, I was like, really? It's like, people didn't care. They were still driving the way they drive. And I was like, oh my God. And trees, afterwards, I saw the news, and trees were literally uprooted because of the wind, of how bad it was. But have you noticed that palm trees just sway back and forth? And palm trees aren't ever uprooted. The palm trees they're grounded. They ain't going anywhere. That's how we need to be with our faith. We need to be so grounded. They can tell us what they can tell us. They can do what they want to do. They can hurt it. They can try to hurt us. They can try to tell us things. They can try to hurt our feelings. They can do it. I ain't moving. I know who I am. I know that my identity. I know my authority. I know my position. I know the way God sees me. And it said it before last week when we said his ways are higher than our ways. And the way that he sees us is more than we could ever see ourselves. And we can't let any of that take us down. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. We have to remind ourselves that he died on that cross for us. And there's no way that I'm going to allow somebody to take my blessing after he paid the price that he paid. I'm not letting any demon, any devil take that blessing from me. He paid a high price for me. And I didn't deserve it. I should have been the one there. He did nothing. I, on the other hand, did. But I'm not letting anybody take that blessing. And if you're going to, it's like, you're going to hold my earrings, man. Hold my purse. I'm going to fight you for it. Fight. And don't let those thoughts get to you. Don't let those thoughts get the best of you. Because you are more than that. So with that, guys, I hope you receive something. I really, really hope you guys go home, examine yourselves, look at what it is that you need to let go, and what are the things that you need to receive, and what are some of the things that you need to start changing your way of thinking, in the areas that you need to change your way of thinking, and start calling them out every day. When you wake up, start calling it, I am blessed. I am forgiven. I have been forgiven of my past. I've been made free. I do have joy. I do have peace. Start calling all those things out every day. If it has to be every day, you got to do it every day. Because the devil's not going to rest. He does not sleep. When we're sleeping and we're dreaming, in our dreams, I told Manuel I was dreaming I was at the beach. He's thinking of what he's going to do to me. He's not taking the time and thinking about what he's going to do. He's thinking of what he's going to do to me. So we can't let that. And remind him every morning, I am fearless. I am blessed. I am seated with him in heavenly places. Don't forget that. You can't touch me. I don't know if you guys, like I said, I don't know. I've never been in a fight. I don't know the trash talk that people do, when they're about to get in a fight. But I'm sure going to tell him everything in the Bible. That's going to be my trash talk. I'm going to tell you everything that the Bible says about me. And don't give up. You can't. You can't. That price that he paid was too high for us to give up. Too high. So with that said, guys, if you guys can stand up, we're going to pray. And if there's anybody that needs prayer for anything, we would be glad to pray for you and pray with you for whatever it is that you guys need.